Hi there, and welcome. Well, not to my local woods. This time I'm up in the mountains here in Norway, and I wanted to do a just a quick knife review. I have been carrying this knife with me for a while. It's the Condor Cavelore. If you are following this channel, you have seen it in my recent videos and on the main channel as well. I like this knife. I like the looks, and I like the grip, the handle, and pretty much almost everything about this knife. It's a variant of the very famous Condor Bushlore. Now, if you're a bushcrafter, you will know about this design and where it comes from. Ray Mears, he had this very famous Bushlore knife designed. I don't think they make them anymore. Well, I'm pretty sure they don't make them anymore. This design here is inspired by that. The blade shape, the handle, and pretty much everything about it. Before I forget, it's 1095 steel, which a lot of people like. Myself, I have to say I prefer stainless. It has to do with the climate where I'm normally hiking and camping and so on by the coast. But a lot of people like 1095, and you can get variants of this. This is a variant, as I said. So you have the let's see, the Bushlore, which I think was the first one they made. Then this is the Cavelore, and you have blue lore, ocean lore, sea lore, something like that, like with a blue handle. That one is the one with stainless steel. And you have a black lore, I think. So yeah, you get different variants of this one. Now, first things first. What's the most important thing about a knife, in my opinion? It's the handle. Now, I have large hands, and most knives, I find that the handle is too short. This one is not. This handle is okay. You can see that the handle is actually protruding right here, which is good. I like this handle. It's a very comfortable handle. It's not too square. Sometimes this part here, it's not rounded, which I think it should be for a knife that you use for whittling and processing firewood and things like that. It has a Scandi grind, and I have something to say about this, because there's a flaw in the design here, in my opinion. So what's this flaw in the design? Well, I'll tell you. When you have well, for those who don't know, a Scandi grind means that you have one angle from the flat part here down to the bevel, right? So there is no secondary bevel. And when you sharpen a Scandi grind knife, you just let's see. Let's imagine that this is a flat sharpening stone, and you put the knife, let's see if we can show this, with just flat, the bevel flat on the stone, and you sharpen it like this, right? You can't do that with this knife unless you apply a circular motion. Now, I can't do this while holding this. Let's see. Well, I'll do it without it. So you have to apply a circular motion. So it's a minor design flaw. but in my opinion, Scandi grind knives should have a straight, the edge should be straight here until it bends upwards, of course. This part here doesn't really get the tip where it's rounded, doesn't get blunt very easily because you are using this part most of the time. It's not a big flaw, and there is something about this knife which I think comes from the rounded, almost leaf-like shape here, which is good. What's so good about this flaw, quote-unquote flaw? Well, I think it's making this knife very good for making feather sticks. It is by far, out of all my knives, the best knife for making feather sticks. And I didn't think about this, but really you can feel how this blade and the bevel just grips the wood in the exactly right way for making feather sticks. Now, before I forget, there is another flaw, let's say, about this knife, which is very easy to correct. You can easily correct it yourself. The spine of the knife, when I got this knife, it was, well, it's a 90 degrees angle, but it was not sharp enough to use with a ferro rod. And I like to use the blade like this with a ferro rod. I just grinded it down and now it works fine. This surface area here where it's dented, it's just to make it look more primitive. You know, it doesn't really have a function, but I like the look of this knife. I must admit, I really like the look of this knife. So it's been hammered to look like a flint knife. These are copper wires. Again, just a nod to, you know, Viking age jewelry, for instance. Let's not get into the alternative medicine here, but you know, some people say that even just holding or wearing copper wire is good against arthritis and things like that. Now, the sheath, I don't like the sheath. This one, you know, it looks nice, but first of all, it doesn't have any attachment for any loop for a ferro rod, which I prefer. Some people want to have that separate, but I like to have the ferro rod on the knife sheath. So I have ordered, I ordered a sheath for this knife. I shouldn't say this, but because I'm Norwegian, and this kind of sheath is very Scandinavian, but I don't like it so much. It's a very simple sheath. If you come to Norway and you want a traditional Norwegian knife, we call them tollekniv, they will come typically with a sheath like this. And I find it flimsy and I don't like it so much. So some people will like it, I don't. It has an attachment right inside here for a string, something. I'm going to remove this because I never use this. You know, you can do like this, but I never do, so I'm going to remove it. But it's great that it's the attachment point is not protruding, because sometimes I hold a knife like this, right? Okay. I have ordered also the Bushlore, and I'll compare these two and see which one I like the most. But I must say, I really like this knife. I like the look of it, the grip, the handle, everything. I would maybe prefer the blade to be a little bit thicker, but then again that will make the knife heavier, and when you're hiking longer distances, every gram or ounce matters actually. So yeah, I'm, you know, like many things in life, a bushcraft knife will have to be a compromise between many things, and yeah, that's just how it is. Will I recommend this knife? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. This one came sharp right out of the box from Condor, but I will say that I have ordered other knives from Condor, and they have not all been great when it comes to the finish and so on. The sheath on one of them was rubbish and dangerous. So I think it's a company that maybe they need to improve their quality control. But this one was, you know, very good, very good. Yeah, I'm sure there are things that I forgot to say about this knife, but that's just how it is. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well, or at least consider doing that. And thanks for watching.